Carter Elliott joins us now from Spartans Illustrated. No time to rest on the laurels for last night's win. Indiana's got another game coming up this weekend, and it's a tough one as Sparty comes to visit. Carter Elliott, how are you, sir? Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Michigan State been playing well once the season got going. They've been playing well the whole time, looking like a team that's challenging for the Big Ten lead and playing like that again last night. Indiana, fortunately, is playing well also. This is looking to be a hell of a game come Sunday.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. And I'd be lying if I told you that I was excited that Indiana is getting it together and playing good basketball. Now you guys are coming off the win, I believe, at home against Wisconsin and then going into State Farm Arena. And I was just in that same stadium actually last weekend to watch Michigan State play Illinois. And I know how tough that place is to play and how hard it is actually to hold a lead in that place too, as we blew a second half lead in that game. So that's an impressive win by you guys. So it's going to be exciting come Sunday for sure.
Dustin?
Well, I was curious about last night's game. We've talked a lot about Indiana getting the win over Illinois, but Michigan State gets a big win over Rutgers. Rutgers has only had 2 losses coming into that game last night. I mean, what did you see? What went right for Michigan State? Because they had dropped back-to-back games against Illinois and had a lot of opportunities to win that Purdue game and get the upset there. But what did you see in that game from Michigan State against Rutgers that maybe they hadn't been doing in the previous 2?
You know what? I don't know if necessarily much really changed, to be honest with you. I just think that they kind of ran into 2 really good teams in Illinois and obviously Purdue being a top 3 team in the country. And we went toe-to-toe with Purdue. And, we had a chance to actually win the game with under 30 seconds left. So I wasn't necessarily disappointed with our play at all. But this game against Rutgers was, in my eyes, more of a desperation point. So I was looking for Michigan State to be the more desperate team out of between them and Rutgers. And I think they were, and they were able to get the win. And once again, our backcourt of A.J. Hogarth and Tyson Walker have just been phenomenal and just the fuel that makes this machine go. And we're really just going to go as far as they can take us this season, especially with the unknowns of if or when Malik Hall is going to come back from injury, who's another important part of our team.
After winning 7 straight games, they lose a couple, but seem to have gotten right back on track just in time as they hit the road and travel to Bloomington, a place that's generally a tough place to play. And right now with Indiana playing well, it will be a tough place because that will fuel the crowd and the crowd will fuel the team, I would assume. So this should be a hell of a game on Sunday, I'm thinking. I didn't expect Indiana to do what they did at Illinois last night. Their problem has been the opposite of what they've been doing here of late. They're getting out to good starts. It had been the opposite. They had been getting out to horrible starts and chasing their tail throughout the rest of the game. And man, they have not been doing that here of late. They have just really been getting at it, going at people. Trace Jackson Davis has looked, I used the word determined earlier, much more determined to score and to score in further than 2 feet from the basket, which has been something he had just been, I think he just fell in love with from a confidence standpoint. But right now, he's like, all comers, taking on all comers. When he gets the ball, it doesn't seem to matter where he is. He's looking to score, and that's a Trace Jackson Davis I have not seen at all this season until now.
Yeah, that was last night. That was a post performance. That was a thing of beauty. I'm a former Division III college basketball post player myself, so I enjoy watching a good post move every now and then. And last night, what Trace was doing to them boys was, honestly, I felt bad. I felt bad for Illinois because he had them in the clinic. He was going to the middle. He was spinning baseline, dunking the ball, finding shooters in the opposite corner. And all I could think in my head was, I'm not the most confident in Michigan State's front court abilities right now. And the thought of Trace Jackson Davis coming into that game off the confidence of what he was able to do against Illinois, that scares me. And if he's going to play like that, it's a totally different outlook for this Indiana team. So it's
well, and you add
it's
to
gonna be
that
something Sunday.
right along beside that, though, has been the emergence of Jordan Geronimo, who had been a bench player who had not been playing with great confidence. And these last couple of games, he had a double-double the game before last. Last night, I thought he was going to end up with a double-double in the first half. He only ended up with 13 points, but he was 6 of 6 at the half, ended up 6 of 8 for the game for 13 points and 8 rebounds, but nearly another double-double. So when you've got a guy that's a former bench player coming off that is giving double-double type games, I don't know if that's helping to fuel Trace Jackson Davis's confidence that he has someone else that can take the stress off. He doesn't have to worry, but whatever it is. But he's been playing like a man possessed.
Yeah, 100%. It doesn't give you the ability to double Trace either. And I think thinking back to last year, I thought that Indiana did their best when Race Thompson was able to take a little bit of pressure off of Trace. So they've kind of been looking for that guy since Race has been injured. So you got, the combination of Hood Schifino at the guard spot, who is a pro, and then Geronimo stepping up. Who knows what can happen in the Big Ten. It's such a weird conference. You have Purdue at the top, and then everybody else can kind of have a shot at those other spots.
Well, what's going to be interesting to me, and I would like your take on this. To me, I feel like you're not going to probably shut Trace Jackson Davis down. I think that's probably an unrealistic goal. I mean, you can obviously limit him and make him work for his points and make him work on the defensive end to try to wear him down. But I'm interested to see. I think Hoggard and Walker, what they try to do with ball pressure and how they try to get into Indiana's guards, I think could potentially be the difference in this game, because those are two experienced guys. And even though Jalen Hood-Schifino is a pro, he's still a freshman. Trey Galloway is still somewhat new to the starting lineup. I know he started a couple games this season, but what kind of defensive pressure do you expect Michigan State to? I mean, do you think that's how they can offset maybe Trace's dominance inside?
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes the best way to stop a post player is not letting it get into him by pressuring the guards. And, for the size kind of deficiencies that Tyson Walker has, he has one of the quickest hands in the country as far as, getting steals, getting up in guys. And if he's guarding a player who's a bigger guard, like let's say a Hood Schifino, Hood Schifino might be able to kind of use his size to overpower him. But Tyson's also going to be able to get up in him and get lower and be, kind of lower man wins kind of situation. So he's got to be careful with the ball. He's got to take care of it. Our guards, they compete. They're tough as hell. So they're not going to back down from this challenge. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Trace Jackson Davis, because we've guarded bigs different all year this year. We kind of had the Zach Edey, let him catch it, see if he can beat us by himself game. We had the double Hunter Dickinson game. So I'm interested to see kind of what Coach Izzo is going to do as far as game planning coming into this game. Well,
and that's kind of worked to an extent. I mean, Michigan State beat Michigan, and then I don't think you could ask to be in a better position against Purdue. I mean, you had your chances to win that game. So even though Zach Edey dominated that game, I still think Tom Izzo would be maybe not thrilled with the kind of numbers he put up, but to be in position to win that game, even though Edey had 32 and 17 or whatever it was, it's worked. I know they've had their struggles at times, but for the most part throughout the Big Ten season, he's done a really good job at making those adjustments. That's what's to me going to be so interesting, because that game against Purdue is still stuck in my head. Is it going to be a similar situation where they say, you know what, we'll let Trace Jackson Davis beat us, we're not going to let these other guys get free? Or is there going to be some sort of different strategy heading into this game?
Yeah, I'm interested to see it too. Personally, after seeing what I saw last night and seeing what Trace has done, I'm sending the double team, especially the way our front court operates right now. Mady Sissoko is still very raw, and the guys we have coming off the bench in Kohler and Carson Cooper, they're young, true freshmen who are maybe a little bit somewhat undersized, at least in Kohler's case, compared to Trace Jackson Davis. So it's definitely going to be a game where game plan is going to come into effect, and I'm interested to see kind of where they go with that. And if it stays throughout the whole game, who knows? If it's not working, we could see some mid-game adjustments as well.
Your freshman Jackson Kohler leading the team last with a double-double, 12 and 11. Anytime you can get that from a freshman, first of all, that's huge. But that shows that this time of the season. You're in the Big Ten play, and when you start playing well, like Jordan Geronimo, although he's not a freshman, but he's getting it. That means it's time for him to start playing. So that's got to be exciting for Michigan State fans.
Definitely, because we've been waiting on it. We've been waiting on it. We've been waiting on it all season. So it was good to see him have a coming out party last night against Cliff Omarui, by the way, who's one of the most physical players in the Big Ten. So that's not who I expected him to have his coming out party against, but it was definitely a sight to see, a positive for Michigan State fans.
And the Big Ten standings now, of course, we've talked about that. Purdue at the top still with just the one loss at 7-1, but right behind them, you've got a plethora of teams led by Michigan State at 5-3, Rutgers at 5-3, whom they just beat, Wisconsin, whom Indiana just beat, Iowa, who was started the Big Ten play 0-3. Illinois is at 4-4. They started 0-3. So this Big Ten season's been crazy already. When you have teams that are that high up that started with 0-3 and 0-4 marks, Illinois went ahead and they won 4 straight. So it's Indiana jumps back up to the middle. They were at the bottom. They're at 3-4 now. Yeah, 3-4 now. So they need this game just to get back to even. Besides Purdue, the Big Ten is looking like an accordion, and every time you squeeze it in, you don't know which team is coming back in what position.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you said, the top 4 battle is going to be fun, I think. I feel bad saying this. I'm kind of ready to concede the conference to Purdue. I mean, they're off to a crazy start. You can't. It would take
and I
from
mentioned
them at this point.
A couple of wins they got already. At Ohio State and at where was it? At Michigan State.
Michigan State, yeah.
At Michigan State.
At Michigan State, yeah. Those are just 2 gigantic wins that they already have under their belt. And so with that, I'm like, wow, it's going to be hard to dislodge them. But yeah, everyone seems to be fighting for second place right now.
Well, you talk about the top 4 battle, Carter, and we've talked this week about this is a pivotal 3-game stretch for Indiana. Illinois at home against Michigan State, then on the road against Minnesota because of how they started 1-4 and kind of needed to bounce back. But I think if you're Michigan State and you have aspirations of finishing or competing with Purdue at the top and then, potentially finishing in that top 4, this is a pretty big 3-game stretch for them as well. I mean, you've got to close out this month. You've got the game against Indiana this weekend. Then you go home against Iowa, and then you head back to the state of Indiana to play Purdue, and then you throw in another one. You got Rutgers to kick off February. So this is probably a 4-game stretch here for Michigan State where we might find out if they are one of the top contenders in the Big Ten or if they're going to be middle of the pack here.
Yeah, definitely. And with the way the Big Ten is shaking up too, I mean, Jim just brought it up. Like one game can swing you so far one way, and one game can swing you so far the other way. Especially in a game like, we had, like you said, Purdue coming up in a week or so. That game could be, who knows what could happen or what could be on the line in that game. So, you can't look ahead, unfortunately. You got to take it game by game, which sucks. I hate doing that. I love looking ahead. But you got to take it game by game and just, do the best you can. I mean, in Indiana's case, you got to win home games. I feel like you got to win home games and then figure it out on the road. But when you're in the middle of the pack, the home games are very important.
Yeah, looking at the Michigan State currently, they're tied for second in the conference with Rutgers, but this is an important game for them, even though it's at Indiana, on the road in Indiana, because they just kind of broke out of I hate to call it a slump, but the mini slump. They lost 2 games in a row, but this would be 3 losses out of 4 games. And while that sounds bad, they're not playing. I don't think that they're playing like a team that could lose 3 out of 4 games, but that's a very, very real possibility.
Yeah, 100%. And then on top of that, with the Malik Hall injury, we don't know when he's necessarily coming back or if he's coming back. So with him being one of our best players, we're just kind of, I hate saying we're trying to tread water right now, at least, but at the same time, we need to tread water and win basketball games. This is going to be a big one. I mean, in my Michigan State life and fanhood, playing at Indiana has always been a struggle. So I guess we're going to see how it goes.
These are always fun games. I'm telling you, Indiana and Michigan State, they're always great battles. no matter where they are. And I expect no less with this one right now. With the Indiana's fans are rejuvenated because the team is rejuvenated, and yeah, there's not much. It's hard to find a tougher venue to play in when things are going well for Indiana than Assembly Hall, and I think that energy, you can see it on this team. And that's something that I haven't seen, Dustin. I don't know if you have, but this team has got energy right now. One of the things that they, had been, the knock was not playing with moxie, not playing with toughness, being kind of soft at the start of the year. And it's taken them a minute, but that's not what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a team that is playing with a chip on its shoulder, and that should bode for a hell of a game on Sunday, and I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Same here. With all that said, Michigan State's going to win the game 72-62.
There you go.
That said.
What? A 10-point? 10 points? Really?
It's going to be close. It's going to be close. We're going to pull away late with free throws, but it'll be close.
There you go.
How in the hell can you come on here and say a 10-point 10-point win, man?
I said a respectable 10-point win. Like, it'll be around 6 points, and we'll make some free throws.
There's no such thing as a respectable 10-point loss in your home floor.
Gotta call it like I see it.
Hey, I love it. I love it. I think that I think, and it's not. Trust me, I'm not a homer. I'm like, boom. I think Indiana wins this game. I think that they're riding on a high right now, that they're playing well, that Trace Jackson Davis he's pissed off. He looks like he's pissed off, and that's good. That's a good thing. He's playing like he's pissed off, and he needs to stay that way. Jordan Geronimo, somebody has got up into his ear and made him become a player, because he's playing like he has not ever played before. So if that continues, I think Indiana wins again. But it's not good. It'll be a tight game no matter what, because Indiana likes to make games close. They like to get big leads and give them away and scare their fans, it looks like, because I thought they were going to do that again last night.